Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because we're going to unpack one of the most foundational, genuinely paradigm-shifting stories in personal finance. We're diving deep into the core philosophy behind Robert Kiyosaki's legendary Rich Dad, Poor Dad. We're going to completely deconstruct the psychology of wealth, the traps of the working class, and the specific mindset shifts you actually need to achieve financial independence.
Okay, let's dive right into this. I've got a question for you that might sound, well, a little ridiculous at first. What exactly can a 9-year-old's highly illegal counterfeiting ring teach us about true wealth? I know, it's a bizarre, almost comical premise, right? But this incredibly funny story of two literally forging coins to escape the feeling of poverty, it's actually the exact starting point of a profound financial education.
Part 1. The Quest for Wealth. Forging a Path to Riches. So picture this. It's 1956, and 9-year-old Robert and his best friend Mike have just experienced a major reality check. They were the quote-unquote poor kids at a school filled with the children of affluent plantation managers and doctors in Hawaii. A kid named Jimmy had just left them behind to go to a beach house for the weekend in his mom's brand-new Cadillac. And man, that sharp sting of exclusion, it sparked an intense desire in the boys. They needed to figure out how to make money. Robert's dad had told him, if you want to be rich, you have to learn to make money. Well, taking that literally, the boys hatched a plan. For 3 weeks, they knocked on neighbors' doors, practically begging for empty toothpaste tubes, which were actually made of lead back then. They stockpiled them in this huge, messy cardboard box by the washing machine until Robert's mom completely lost it and threatened them with eviction. So the pressure was on. By Saturday morning, they've got a full production line going. They're melting lead in a steel pot over a glowing hot hibachi grill, pouring liquid metal into plaster of Paris molds. And just as they pop out their very first lead nickel, Robert's dad pulls up. He had to gently explain to them that what they were doing was actually a federal crime called counterfeiting. It was a hilariously literal, highly illegal attempt to make money. But his dad still praised their sheer determination and creativity.
And this perfectly illustrates the core contrast of our entire story. First, we have Robert's biological father, the poor dad. He's a highly educated government worker, a school teacher who firmly believes in good grades and secure jobs. He tells Robert to make money, sure, but he openly admits he has absolutely no idea how to actually do it. Then we have Mike's father, the rich dad. He's an 8th grade dropout, but he works grueling hours building an empire of warehouses, convenience stores, and restaurants. Robert's dad even points out that their shared banker considers rich dad to be absolutely brilliant with money.
Moving to Section 2, Working for 10 cents, the price of a lesson.
Following Poor Dad's advice, the boys went to ask Mike's dad for help. They ended up sitting in his musty living room, waiting right alongside his adult employees. When Rich Dad finally met with them, he flat out refused to teach them in a traditional classroom style. He insisted they had to work for him. Why? Because life is the best teacher, and he planned to use life to teach them. The offer he dropped on them was pretty brutal. 10 cents an hour for 3 hours every single Saturday morning. Now, even by 1956 standards, 10 cents an hour was remarkably low. And for a 9-year-old boy, giving up your Saturday morning meant completely giving up your cherished weekend softball games. But Robert was eager. He wanted to learn the secret of wealth, so he took the deal. The reality of that decision hit them fast at one of Rich Dad's convenience stores. The place was managed by the kindly but very strict Mrs. Martin, and the job was just excruciating. The store had zero air conditioning, which meant the front doors stayed wide open all day. Every single time a car pulled into the parking lot, a massive cloud of dust swirled in and coated everything in the store. So for 3 hours a week, Robert and Mike had to take canned goods off the shelves, dust each one off individually with a feather duster, and restock them neatly. After 3 weeks of this totally mind-numbing dusty labor, earning a measly 30 cents a week, Robert was frustrated, he was angry, and he was completely ready to quit. So Robert, he's totally fed up, right? He marches into Rich Dad's house, demands a 25-cent raise, and outright accuses him of exploiting child labor. He complains that Rich Dad hasn't taught him a single thing. And Rich Dad, he just chuckles. Then he drops this massive paradigm shift on him. He says, most of the time life does not talk to you. It just sort of pushes you around. Each push is life saying, wake up, there's something I want you to learn. He explains that paying Robert 10 cents an hour wasn't cheapness. It was intentionally designed to give him a real taste of what life feels like for the average worker. Now think about it. When life pushes us around, we usually do one of two things. The standard reaction, which Robert was demonstrating perfectly, by the way, is to get angry. You blame your boss, your low pay, or your job for your problems. You quit, and you look for a new job with slightly higher pay, falsely believing that a few extra dollars will magically solve the underlying